Well, guys, this is Ty Cook. He's got Freedom Life Company. And Ty came in. How long you been in the business, dude?
4 years.
4 years. Okay.
Mhm.
So you came in what in 2022?
Yes, that was my first year. Yep.
Okay. And so year one you did 240,000 in AP.
Yep, that was all
Okay.
face to face in person. I think you were there that year, right? We knew each other.
Yeah. Yeah,
Cool.
you and I started around the same time. Yep. I always saw you on Zoom just grinding away.
Yep.
Um, and then yeah, 2024 personal production went up to 700, team went to 2 million. And then 2025 600 production, 10.4 team, 10.4
Mhm.
million team. So yeah, quite the accolades there, man. But yeah, thanks for hopping in. Just want to pick your brain and have you, tell some stories and see if we can, you know, um grab some golden nuggets from you, dude. So
For sure.
first off, just like tell us like a 5 to 10 minute story of Ty Cook. I mean, obviously there's, your accomplishments there, but like, tell us about, the first year in the business. Like how did you, what kind of mindsets and activity, like, what did your mindset and activity look like to hit that 240,000, and then kind of, yeah, just tell us your story a little bit.
Yeah, so prior to insurance, I was doing solar sales for 5 years. And I was making six figures in solar, but there was, I guess, issues with like growth and stuff. So like the company I was with, I was a top producer, but I just didn't see a path to continue to grow and expand. There's a lot of politics involved. So initially, when I got into insurance, the solar industry, if you're familiar, there's a lot of back end issues. So getting paid, it's a construction project to put solar panels on someone's roof. So there's a lot that could go wrong. And it typically did. So I would do my job as a salesperson, but a project manager could F up permitting or, the main panel upgrades or all this stuff. And so I just needed something where I knew like, okay, I put in all this work and I get paid just based on my work. There's no issues with fulfillment. So insurance, the idea that cool, I can call some leads, sell them today, and then get paid within a couple days. And there's no back end administrative stuff because it's just a piece of paper, a policy packet that gets sent to them. There's no, and a policy is just air, right? It's not a real product. There's nothing that could go wrong, right? So jumping into insurance, I was already comfortable with sales. This was in-person sales, so I was already comfortable going to people's houses. Um, my biggest issue, I think that first year, I should have sold a lot more, but my biggest issue was a little bit of ego the first 3 to 6 months of having success in another sales industry, going in thinking I knew everything. I was coachable to an extent, but I wasn't willing to like do all the work. Like triple dialing was something that I didn't do for like 6 months. I didn't hammer my leads like 20 times in a day, like they were telling me to. Like I did all the things that I was like, nah, I'll just use my sales skill to overcome it. And then I wasn't getting the results. My closing percentage was really good, but I wasn't getting the results of these guys that were new to sales, but that were just working a lot harder. So once I decided to just actually triple dial, work the lead, like hammer, hammer, hammer the leads, um, basically doubled my output, then my results doubled. And then I finished that year at, yeah, like what, 240. And then I was gearing up for like my Hall of Fame run, in 2023. So I think I did like 35 in December of that year of 2022. January, I did like 40 something. February did 40 something. So I was gearing up to like have a huge year. And then they were like, oh, actually, we're going to go virtual. So, um, went virtual and that just, it was like learning everything all over again. There was like another 3 to 6 month slump of just figuring out virtual and then finally figured out by the end of the year. And I finished the year close to about the same as where I was. Sorry, I'm gotta text this, but yeah, so that's like the quick version. if you want me to unpack that at all on the
No,
come
so
up.
you said something in there that I want you to kind of elaborate on. Hammering leads. I know obviously that's such a basic concept, but like, a lot of agents come in and, they're afraid to triple dial, or, that they might dial three times in the morning and three times at night. Like, what does hammering the leads mean? Like, how do you articulate that to your agents, and like what are you telling them to do as far as hammering the leads? Elaborate on that for a minute.
Yeah, so let's say you have 100 leads, right? So if I have a stack of 100 leads, I would break it up into chunks of like 30 to 40. So let's just do three chunks of 33 leads, right? So I would hammer that 33 leads, those 33 leads, let's call it, 8 a.m., 8:30. I would hammer them, triple dial all the way through, and let's say you resolve five of them. So now you're left with 28. Rather than moving on to the next batch, I would then hammer that list again. So now that I'm thinking about it, 33 is probably let's do 2 rounds of 50, right? So I'd hammer, takes me about an hour. I'd probably set some appointments. Hopefully I close one. And then instead of going to the next batch of 50, I'm just going to hammer that one again, right? So I resolve five the first time. I'm going to resolve another five the second time. That brings my list down to 40. So now I'm going to let those sit. I'm going to move on to the other 50. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go round one, round two, because the likelihood that they answer is just much higher if I just call them, triple dial twice within like an hour and a half, 2 hours. They're more likely to answer, and I just want to get them on the phone. So I kind of want that like I want that client to think like, man, who the hell is calling me and like answer because initially that's the hardest part is just getting them on the phone. But once they're on the phone, I don't get yelled at like too much. Like, yeah, every once in a while they're pissed off, but usually it's just like, hey, who's this? And I'm like, oh, sorry, I don't know what's going on with my phone. This is Ty, just getting back to you about that life insurance. Looks like you listed you're in the state of Colorado, or looks like you listed your beneficiaries this, whatever the information is, confirm the info, and then just roll in. They don't even acknowledge the fact that I just called them like 6 times within like an hour and a half.
Right.
So
Right.
that helped a ton, and it was slightly different with I'm just referring back to the. Are you guys are all virtual, or are you in
Yeah.
person? Okay.
Virtual.
Yeah, that was back in the in person. So now like the application, it's really no different. Although now we have like these aggressive power dialers that we use, and so I think the concept is still the same, although it's a lot easier to take the thinking out of it because my first year it was all mailers, and so you're like calling one by one. Now it's like you click a button and you just let that thing just go until people are answering.
If you're using Ringy, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yep.
Right on. Yeah. No, thanks for elaborating on that. Um, and then Cam, did you have anything that you wanted to
Yeah.
add
I
or
mean,
ask?
I think what's important for people to hear, like, so you obviously came from the solar field, you went into insurance. Like, if you've kind of gone that journey, you're at where most agents, like that, the pinnacle of what most agents wish they were at. What would
Mhm.
three pieces of advice that I guess that you would give a new agent?
Yeah, so number one is just be like super coachable, drop the ego. So the we'll use the triple dial thing as an example. If you feel like if you're like, man, you're telling me to triple dial and you're new, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't want to piss them off. I don't want to burn the lead. That seems a little rude. Just kind of have a little bit of blind faith. And as long as the person you're listening to has the result that you want, then I would just do it. So like my mentor was Easton, who came off his best year when I first started of 940 grand. So I was like, cool, this is like a top point whatever percent guy. Let me just listen to him. I still didn't listen to him for like 6 months on that thing. And then once I did, I was like, man, I'm an idiot. Why didn't I just drop the ego? So be coachable, drop the ego is number one. And then number two, I would say look at the guy or girl ahead of you who has the results that you want, and then do everything in your power to outwork them. So, um, and I actually didn't learn that until I hired another guy, Jesse Wagner, who his first year he sold like 450,000, no sales experience. And that was his mentality. He's like, all right, if Ty gets to the office at 7:30, I'm gonna get to the office at 7. And if Ty leaves the office at 7:30 p.m., I'm gonna stay to the office till 8 or 8:30. So his goal and his thought process was, okay, if I can outwork Ty, right? And you can apply this to whoever you're chasing. If I could outwork this person, maybe I'll achieve half of what they did. And then it just so happened he nearly doubled what I did my first year because at the beginning he sucked, but then because he was working way more hours than a normal new agent would, he got really good really fast. And then it was like 0 to 100 for him. In his first like 5 months, he sold a cumulative like 35,000 over 5 months. Was buying leads, spending a lot on leads actually, and then in his 6 month, he sold like 39,000 alone in that month, and then it was just 40 and 60, like just skyrocketed
So
from
he,
there.
so how many more hours do you think he worked than you? Week, like like per day? So we can do the math.
Per day, probably 2 to 3 hours per
More.
day,
So,
because
and would he
my
work
skill
5 or 6
set,
days a week?
6 days a week, so 20 hours a week, compounding 15 to 20 hours a week extra
936 hours more than he did.
for the year.
So, for the year. So if you marginal, I
Yep.
always tell these guys marginal decision making. So those little marginal
Yep.
decisions he made compounds
Mhm.
936 more hours. That's equivalent to him working 23 and a half more weeks than you. That's 6 months.
Yeah.
That's 6 months of work he was able to do in another 6 months by just taking that time to do that. So I think that's a really great piece of advice. It's like, hey, if I want to be this person, I got to outwork this person. And then,
Hmm.
there's a great quote I saw the other day. It's like, if you want to be this thing, look at what their life is, and if you don't want that life, then don't try to be that thing.
Yep.
Because everyone's like, oh, well, that person made all this money. It's like, okay, are you willing to do the work? And if you're not, then like just that can't be your goal.
Right. And then the last, you asked for three. So the
Yeah.
last thing is just don't quit. So, so like my first year was kind of expected. I don't know. I'm kind of an overachiever, so I wanted to do better, but I wasn't upset about my first year. Second year, I was pissed because I was geared for I was pissed at myself, just to be clear. I was gearing up for this big production year. I also wanted to build an agency, hired some people that just weren't the right fit. So like it took 2 years before I saw any like real success per my standards. And then in 2024, grew from one agent to 40. And then in 2025, more than doubled that, but 5x production. And so it took like 2 years of grinding before I even saw any crazy, results. Really almost 3 years because that year, 2024, I mean, I was 6 days a week, 14-hour days, building, 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 building. And then it wasn't until a little bit like last year, so probably March of last year is where I was finally like, okay, cool. I built something. Um, and then we're still growing and we're still, on to the next goal, right? So I think that's another piece is like people quit too early. People quit at month 6 or month 3, month 12 even. But I think if you could just never quit, you'd be shocked like what you're capable of after your first year, your second year, even your third year. That's when things like start to go your way and then you start to get lucky. But it was really just all of that preparation over the first few years that now your skill set, mentally you're in the right place. Maybe you've developed all these um, different personality traits along the way. So now you're primed and ready to have that huge growth.
Awesome.
And Ty, remind me how old you are, dude.
31.
31. Um, awesome. And so in that first couple of years, you talk about like, 6 days a week, 14-hour days. Like, tell us, a little bit about what your day looked like. I mean, were you, yeah, just tell us like the day in the life of Ty Cook in the beginning first 2 years of the business.
Yeah, I'm gonna not talk about the first year because it was different. In-person sales is like a slightly different schedule. I'll talk about virtual. So we'll go with the second year, my first year virtual, and then um, how that played out. So up at 5:30 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning is number one, and then I go to the gym. So I like to be at the gym by like 6, and if I can hit a quick workout, we were fortunate, or we are fortunate at our office to have a gym. So go to the office, hit a workout, 6 to 7 at the gym. And then this is a little hack for breakfast after the gym. Every single day I did this like almost almost every day my first year, Chick-fil-A breakfast. So after the gym, go grab a chicken burrito, um, and a 4 count chicken mini. So you can't miss that. Um, so grab that. And I was always with like one of my guys. So me and Hayden or me and Jesse, we'd go grab food. We'd come back. So we're back at the office by about 7:30. Kind of gross now I'm thinking about it. We wouldn't really shower after the gym. We wouldn't like our workouts when you're going those long hours, it was really tough to get like a crazy tough workout. So we're not like sweating or anything, but in our gym clothes, sit down, eating our breakfast, and we're just role playing the script. So we'd role play the script, the first part of the script. I say, all right, Jesse, pitch me. Okay, do it again. Okay, that sounded good. Let's move on. Let's practice this objection, right? So role playing while we're eating, and then it was on the phones by 8. So from 8 to 12:30, we're just hammering the phones. So that's our first dial block. The goal of the first dial block is to close 1 to 2 policies. That's a good, like, I feel okay about one. If I close two in a dial block, I feel good. And if I close more than two, three, four, I feel great. So that's the objective of the first part of the day, right? 12:30, grab food. 1 o'clock, do another kind of like midday script training. Less script training, more so just like, hey, if I got a new agent or a group of new agents, I'm like, all right, guys, what were the objections you guys got during the first block? What no sales? Like, did you get hung up on banking, social? They tell you they got to think about it, talk to their spouse. I'm addressing all those things during the 1 o'clock little training. Then from 2 to 3, it's some admin work. So that could be, either checking up on policies, calling carriers, or once you can sell 20,000 in a month, you probably want to just hire a VA in the Philippines. You can get them for like $5 to $10 an hour, and you let them manage all that. So now my 2 o'clock slot is more for like new agents, getting them onboarded, getting them trained up with the script, getting them comfortable from 2 to 3. And then from 3 till sometimes 7, sometimes 8, sometimes 9, just dependent on the day, is just the second dial block. And you just go till the job's done. So ideally, you know, I guess this would kind of dictate my day. So I learned this. I can't remember who taught me this, but it was super helpful. I think I actually learned this from solar sales. Let's say you're calling in the morning. When you call in the morning, you don't want like I hated it when I had like let's say I called in the morning and I booked, tried to close a couple and then I booked 6 appointments for later because they're like, yeah, I'm at work, right? We all run into that. What I used to do was early on, I would be like, okay, well, I got, 3:30 that work, cool. And then the next person I would book at like 5:30. So I'd have this like weird gap. Whereas what I was taught was like if you want to force yourself to stay at the office longer and stay on the clock. I don't know how many people work at an office versus at home, but you'd actually work backwards. So I would push to actually book my 8 o'clock appointment first. So I would try to find an 8 o'clock appointment first, and then a 7:30, and then a 7. So every 30 minutes, and I would actually go backwards because let's say I only booked 4 appointments, 8, 7:30, 7, 6:30. Well, now when I jump
Yeah.
back into the second dial session starting at 3, I could still try to get more same day, whether they're available now I'm presenting, or I can, if I'm calling someone at 3, I could still book them for 6 or 5:30. Like I still have time to like stack my evening, if they're not able to present right now. Always try to present right then and there, one call close. Because my thought is if I'm going to talk to them right now, I got them on the phone, I'm never going to hear from them again. Right? Appointments or disappointments is what we say. But if they're like, dude, I can't talk right now. My boss is yelling at me. I gotta go. Can you call me later? I have to book the appointment. So that's that's how I would structure it. So some days it'd be 8, 9 o'clock appointments that people wanted to do. And then other days it was, you know, earlier. And so, and you close, just one call closes. And so we'd be done at 7. So that's from a producer side and not really building a lot of agents. You could do that. And then it starts to get a little bit different. The schedule starts to shift once you get, if you're hiring about 10 to 20 agents, that's when your schedule will start to shift a little bit. But that was the producer schedule for my first year on the phones.
Hey,
Awesome.
Ty.
Uh-huh.
Super nice to meet you, man. Glad you're here. Real
Yeah.
quick, so if you're calling all day, you obviously have leads to call. Can you kind of go into, if you're okay with it, like how much money you were spending either on a weekly or monthly basis, so our
Yeah.
agents can have an idea of, what it looked like to be able to call every day and have people to call?
Yeah. So, couple ways to look at it. It depends on where you're at in the business. So everyone should start on some sort of aged lead. For us, my group, we only work veteran leads. They're home all day. The premium's a little higher than just traditional final expense. I originally started with mortgage. I love mortgage. But either way, I want to have aged leads as a new agent until you've sold about 15 to 20,000. For our office, it's 20,000. We feel like 20,000 issue paid in a month. Now your skill set's to the point where you could buy fresh leads and you're not burning the leads. So age leads. Um, as far as spend, when I was brand new, it was $1,000 a week, but my goal is to get to 2,000 a week in spend, because the more at bats you have, the more leads you have, the more money you make. At the beginning, that might be scary, but I think after 3 weeks, my upline was like, yeah, let's bump it up. And so I just took on an automatic $2,000 a week spend. So as quick as you can get to a $2,000 a week spend, that's the objective. And this was a helpful training for me because I know new agents, 2,000 in a week, 8,000 in a month, that might be scary. Think of it this way. So let's say you spend 1,000 a week on leads. You got 4 weeks. That's $4,000 of spend in a month. And let's say you sell $20,000 off of that 4,000, right? 5x. So 4,000 to make 20. So the next month, you're going to spend another 4,000 and you're going to spend it and you're going to generate another 20,000. So over 2 months, you spent 8,000 to sell 40. So why not just condense the time, and instead of spending 8,000 over 2 months, why not just spend the 8,000 in 1 month and then you sell 40 in 1 month? So that always helped me because it's not like leads come in when they're interested. It's not like there's this rule where you have to wait this X amount of time to sell them. It's like the leads are already there, they're ready to buy. So why not just spend more to get the money now, to get the production now? So 1,000 at the beginning, ramp up to 2,000 if you can, age leads. And you do that so that you're buying 5, 6, $7 age leads, maybe as low as $3. I don't know what leads you guys run, but I always looked for an age lead that's around $5 a lead. So if I spend 2,000, that's 400 leads, right? My math correct? Yep, 400 leads. So I feel pretty good about my chances of closing. If I have 400 leads, I feel good about closing at least 10 of them. That's a very low expectation. So age leads at the beginning, and then as soon as I'm comfortable with the skill set part, the script. I've sold 20,000 in a month, issue paid, not submit, issue paid, hit the board. Um, by then I've gotten some chargebacks. I kind of know the game. Now I can start turning on and my skill set is good. I've spent all this time. Now I can turn on the fresh leads and spend, in theory, less time because they're fresh and more quality conversations, more time closing. So that's that's how I recommend the lead I guess scaling run for new agents. Does that help?
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely. Yeah, love to get insight from everybody has their own kind of way they do it, but the consensus is regardless if it's Ty or Cam or Nick or it's always you have to spend money on leads. So I just want them to hear that from somebody else that's outside of the group that if you want to really do well in this business, you have to invest in your business. So yeah.
Yeah, and age leads, sometimes I prefer age leads because I know some people they try to go to fresh leads quick, which there's pros and cons. Fresh leads are good because yeah, you get those laydowns. But age leads, they kind of forget about it. Let's say an age lead's 30 days old. They got hammered with calls right when they filled out the form. And then it's been a month now. They're not really expecting your call and they've already been pitched by someone. Sometimes they're just like, okay, I've been putting this off for a while now. Let's just go ahead and get it done. My biggest commission ever, it was a 18,000 AP whole life stack. It was a 6 month old lead that I just randomly hit up. She was a laydown, signed up 1,500 bucks a month. And so age leads are like gold. You just might have to sift through it a lot
And you have
more
to
than
work.
maybe fresh
Yeah, you
leads.
got to
Yeah.
work. You got to put that work in. Yeah, for sure. Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you.
Nice. Um, and
That's
then
good stuff.
my next thing here, Ty, is like,
Mhm.
so grab like one of your agents. I don't know if it would be Jesse, but someone who came in, maybe stressing about money, maybe in a tough situation, no experience. Like who is your, number one agent who has like the best success story, and kind of tell us what that story looks like, and how they got to where they are.
Yeah, we have quite a few. And they usually fall into one of two categories. So we have the Jessies of the world who had no sales experience and were actually terrible, like really, really bad. So he holds the record in our office for the most no sales. He went 0 for 80 on presentations in December of it was like his third month, 0 for 80.
Over, that's crazy. That is
Yeah,
brutal.
that's bad, right?
Like, oh my God. That's,
But
that's almost like crazy.
but he was grinding and just never quit. But it was to the point where he was almost like telling his girlfriend, he's like, "Hey, we might have to move into my dad's basement." So we have his side of and we see agents like that all the time. His is just the most extreme. No skill, really, really bad. It's her first sales job. He worked at Crumble Cookie before this, did some flooring jobs, like no sales experience. So really bad, just outworked the suck, outworked the lack of skill set to the point where he exploded. And he did 450,000 his first year. Last year, he started building a team, did like 370,000 on his own pen. We just opened, I'm actually in Utah currently. We just opened a new Utah office. He's kind of moving out here and running this. So um, that's one side of the thing. So in his case, like the mistake he made, the reason it took so long was he didn't ask for help. So he was in the office with us, and it was probably because I was a newer leader in this industry. It's probably a little bit on me and our systems kind of protect agents from that. But he never came to me as like, hey, can you listen to a call recording? Or hey, can you listen to this? Like, what am I effing up here? And like as soon as we did that, he sat down with us. We're like, "Oh, dude, you're a robot. You're not even making them laugh. You're not being personable. You're just reading the script. Like, let's just be a human." And then that's when he popped off. So asking for help, that was his kind of ticket, but he wouldn't have been able to do that if he didn't have the work ethic. And then my top rep last year is a kid named Wesley, 21 years old, no sales experience. He sold like a little over 600 last year um, himself, and then he started building a team. They did 1 million for the full year. So obviously he was, 600 of that, but um, no sales experience. He was also terrible for the first 3 months. He sold like one policy his first month, one policy his second month, one policy his third, and then they all canceled, I think. Or I think actually he had a death claim. One of them passed away and then the others canceled. Now his was the opposite. He was actually very charismatic, very good, natural, like salesperson, had that kind of charisma about him, but he just wasn't showing up and working. So he'd show up at the office at like 11 o'clock. He'd make some calls, yell at a couple clients in the pit. We'd always laugh because he'd just yell at people, and we had to tell him to tone it down a little bit. But and then he'd leave at like 2. So he'd work 3 hours a day, couple days a week. And then, he finally came to me. He's like, dude, I see you guys are all making money. Like, you guys are all crushing it. Obviously, like, I want to do this. I see the potential. Like, what do I need to do? And I was like, well, what are you doing now? Because it turns out the reason he wasn't all bought in is because he was flipping cars on the side. So he'd buy a used car for 10 grand, flip it for 12. So he's doing the reverse of our business. He was spending a lot, high risk, just to make a couple thousand. So I was like, well, dude, if that's what you're doing, let's just flip that. So how about you spend 2 grand, flip that into 10, and then that like clicked for him. And then he immediately out of the gates, he's like, well, then I'm going to spend 3 or 4 grand a week. I was like, well, just start with 2 grand. Like, you got to get good first. And so he started with buying leads, and immediately, like the first month he took it seriously. I think he sold 20. Second month sold like 35. Third month after taking it seriously, he sold like 50 grand. And then he just never quit. He's going to push to sell 1 million on his own pen this year. So that was a cool example of someone who had some ability naturally with talking to people, just wasn't taking it seriously. And then once he decided to, um, he just exploded. And the fact that he's 21, no sales experience, legally no sales experience. Um, he that was a cool story. And then we have others too, same concept. EJ, who's in our office, bagged groceries before this, wasn't taking it seriously for the first couple months, and then I think he finished the year, his first year, over three something. So like we have lots of examples. It's usually really bad, or what's most common now because our training is so good is they're just not taking it seriously. But once they do, everything takes off.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Cam, Troy, or anyone else, while we have Ty, anyone else have any questions they want to ask?
I think that was. I mean, I love the stories, man. It's just I've been doing this. I've been licensed for this will be my 5th year, and it's like it's always so funny when you hear people come on and like there's a lot of great stories you've got and some great advice, but a lot of it, and I'm sure Ty, you can hear the same thing. It's like, dude, you just gotta grind, like,
Yep.
and you want the thing that the guy or girl ahead of you wants, but you're not willing to do what the guy or girl is willing to do. And just hearing like, oh yeah, they took it seriously. They bought leads. Like, there's no secret sauce in this business. I've
Mhm.
seen people like, oh, what was it? The special thing you can say? It's like, nah, dude, you just got to not quit, work, and buy leads, and you'll figure it out. I mean,
Yep.
0 for 80, like
Yeah.
that's unbelievable. Like,
Yeah. Super
yeah,
bad.
if that didn't make him quit, like that right there shows a ton of grit. Because 0 for 80 is, I mean, good lord, I've gone like 0 for 15, and I was pissed. But 0 for 80 is unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. The mentality when you're going in slumps, this has always helped me. And then I know I got to jump on some other stuff, but the mentality when you're in a slump, and I kept telling him, I was like, dude, you can't be this bad for this long. If you're in a sales slump, you have to shift the mindset to, okay, good news. Today also sucked. That means I'm overdue. So tomorrow should be good. And then if tomorrow sucks, just make sure you maintain the same mindset. And then if next week sucks, okay, well, can't be this bad for this long. Like, I'm at rock bottom. Next week, I'm just going to keep doing my thing, and eventually it'll pop. And then when it pops, it's like a slingshot, right? The worse it is, as long as you're working. If you quit and you're not working, you're not putting in the activity, then yeah, it will never work. But as long as you're working, it can only be so bad for so long till eventually you explode.
Awesome.
It's a numbers game.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just stats. You can't,
Yep.
you can't beat the system. Yeah, man, appreciate you hopping on. I really hope you guys took a lot of value from that because I think it's just great stuff, great stories. It's a really compelling story. I mean, I just think when I think of 80 L's, like as I tell these guys 100 appointments, I say if you do 100 appointments, you're going to be good enough. And dude,
Same thing.
I think that number and I'm like, damn, that is like genuinely the worst I've ever heard. And the
Yeah.
fact he came out and is killing it, dude, that's awesome. I love that. You know?
Yep.
So that because he's probably you're the only thing you can think in that moment is like, dude, am I just terrible? Like, am I the worst salesman to ever be born ever? And then comes out and he just kills it. So good for him, man. And I appreciate you hopping on. I know we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Ty.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, dude.
Thanks, Ty.
Thanks,
Thanks for
guys.
jumping on, dude.
Have a good Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bye.
Thanks,
Later,
Ty.
man.
Dude, that is 0 for 80. I just can't get that out of my head, Nick. Can you imagine that?
I can't, dude.
Dude, I literally when he said that, I was like, he must have misspoke. And then he said it again. I'm like, bro.
That sounds
Well-
like me trying to get a girlfriend in high school.
Yes.
Literally.
Troy waiting
zero for
outside
80.
Troy waiting outside at band camp, still can't close.
Let's do something really quick though while things are fresh. Let's go around the room and I want everyone to, even me, Troy and Cam, I want everyone to take one nugget and explain one thing you took from that. Jim, you're first.
Well, I mean, it's cool because, like what he said, there was nothing that was particularly like new compared to what we've heard some of you guys saying. But that's exactly the point is when you see these people that are just absolutely crushing it in the industry, they all say the same exact things. And so it's like that is the path to success. Like listen to winner after winner after winner and how many of the things they say are similar across the board. And like you said, you just gotta outwork the suck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm next up on the board, so I'll go. I've got a few. The what I love about, guys like that or girls like that, people that have kind of been where I want to go is it's not anything different than I already knew, So it's a good reminder of, don't overcomplicate this business. Just work your ass off. And hearing those success stories of guys who are, I'm 40 years old. A guy who's 21 did $600,000 last year, and it sounds like he was kind of struggling with money. So like, what excuse do you have? Like I love to hear those stories because, yeah, it just kind of sheds light on the fact that like this isn't complicated. Another thing I took was I liked the backward booking appointments at night and then working backwards. That's not something that I've done before. I like that, so I'm gonna implement that. And then he talked about like when you hit 20K a month, like having a virtual assistant to do kind of your admin stuff. That kind of like light bulb went off in my head. So those are the takeaways that I took from that. Dave, you're next.
Let me unmute there. Yeah. Well, I can tell you what, I'll have hinging on age. I don't know if I'm the oldest person here, but yeah, it's great to hear about these young guys crushing it. I kind of am curious if they're living in their parents' basement or whatnot. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm not even put a lot of pressure on myself. I'm not even a month into dialing, and I'm not what a week, 2 weeks into having my own leads, not even a week into having my own leads. And I've been shot down several times, but I don't know, I've done 11, 12 appointments now, maybe. Yeah. So maybe I'm getting down on myself a little bit here because I honestly feel like I should have had a couple sales by now. Um,
I
yeah,
can tell you Ty Cook isn't in his parents' basement when he started. I just want to say that. Like I don't
No, I mean, some of these guys, maybe they are, it's my point is that I pay over $2,100 a month in rent and don't have another job. So for me, I just, unless I'm racking up credit card debt on leads, it's going to come down to a financial situation. Not immediately, but eventually. But that being said, yeah, I'm just into calling here. I have faith I'm going to close some deals. Um, yeah,
Sorry to
I need to
interrupt you.
just keep on grinding.
Yeah,
Big-
I just want to throw
biggest
something out.
takeaway.
Everybody
Yeah.
jump in. Yep, go ahead.
Well, I
Troy.
just want to like say on that. So like every day, like I'm trying to say this in a very non-Cam way, non-Cam Dickey way.
Just shoot it at me.
Or you could just say it like Cam Dickey.
Yeah, let me just say it like
mean-
Cam would.
I'm direct.
Like,
You guys can't say I'm not direct.
Like so it was what was funny this weekend at I was at a conference or whatever, and a guy on stage literally said this, and because you're talking about like financial and you've got this and this and this, dude, everybody has the same shit. Like you are not like you're not at the right end of the bell curve where you're like, oh, I'm like an anomaly in the situations that I'm in.
Oh,
Like
no, yeah.
I could like half the room is probably in the same situation.
Sure.
And so what we have to start doing is we have to quit worrying about what was the stat? Okay. Your worry, your thoughts. So they did a study with your thoughts, and 85% of the worries that everybody has never comes true. So that particular worry that you're worrying about, it never happens. The other 13% of your thoughts actually turn out to be really good, a really good situation. So it actually doesn't end up being a negative worry. It actually turns out in a positive light. Only 3% of what we think about, 3% of our worries are actually or negatively impact our life. So when we sit there and all we think about is, okay, I got this and this and this, but what is that going to help? Like it's not gonna do anything for anybody. I'm not just talking to you, David. I'm talking to everybody. Like we sit there and we think about all this bad stuff that's happening, all these things that could happen, may happen. 97% of them don't even happen. And all we're focused on is just the negative thoughts we have every day. Instead of, I'm going to tell you right now, the kid at 21 years old, let's say 600,000. I know numbers are always inflated, but let's say 600,000. You know why? Because he showed up and he fucking dialed for 14 hours a day. He got told no 80 times in a row, and he showed up every morning. There's nobody in here that comes in at 7:30 and leaves at 9. Not one person. So if you want 600,000, you're going to have to work for 600,000. You're going to have to do the things for 600,000. And so, and they weren't like, were they worried in the back of their head? Oh, maybe something, this, that, whatever. And yeah, when you're 21, what do you really have to worry about? Maybe maybe you have to move back in with your parents. Who cares? Like that's not the worst thing. Some people don't have parents, don't have a home to even go to. So it's like, we have to get out of the mindset of
Scarcity.
thinking that we're like on an island. Everybody is in like the same situation, like the same type of situations. Like, I mean, I could have, getting into this business, like I lost 400 grand in businesses like in 2024. And then I dumped several $100,000 in this business the next year. I could have sat
I
there
don't
and
even
been
have
like,
numbers like that. I can't even talk about numbers like
well,
that.
no, but what I'm saying is it's not the point. The point is I 8 years ago when I got a divorce and was like literally lost everything I had, I could have sat there and been like, well, if I, if I do this and I do, I got all this shit. I don't have any money. I don't have that. I could sit there and do that all day, but what the fuck's that going to help? You know what I mean?
I've spent a lot of time dealing with my thoughts, and negative thoughts will impact your health for sure.
No, for sure.
So, I mean, part of really manifesting something is to be positive about anything you're putting yourself into every day.
Well,
and that is going to make
positive.
you.
I'm not even saying being
positive.
It
is about positive vibes. I believe it is.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you may not even, nobody wants to get up and go dial for 14 hours. Like, they just don't. I don't want to freaking hop on planes and go talk with people. I fucking hate it. but it's not even a positive thing. It doesn't have to be positive to do it and to know that you actually, like Nick, when you go to the gym, do you love just like, man, I love going like lift and fucking strain my muscles and like get tired, and like you probably don't, you may have a couple sessions where you're like, man, that was a really good session, I enjoyed that.
No one
Most of
likes
the time I
legs.
hate it. Yeah.
No one likes
Nobody,
legs.
95% of the time you're like, fuck this, dude. I can't even believe I'm here. And so it's not even about positivity. It's just about deciding that I'm not going to deal with that. I'm going to move forward with the things that actually work. That's 95% of people's block, is literally just worrying about shit that you don't even know if it's going to come true or not. So that's, I just want to throw that out there, dude. We're all going through shit, dude. Every person in here. So like, y'all are not, nobody's alone in that at all. We just have
I'm
to do
empathetic to everyone's different situation, but obviously yeah, it's not going to help me worrying about whether I'm not going to be able to pay rent in a couple months if you know, it's not going to help my work performance right now, is what I'm saying.
Correct. You know how
It's
you're
gonna
going to be able to pay your rent in a couple months? Fucking 14, 16 hours
Yeah,
a
I
day,
mean, those
fucking
guys-
dialing. And then in 30 days, you're going to be like, why the fuck was I worrying about that? That's what's going to actually happen. Because what's super cool, and I mean, everybody in here knows this. You sell a policy, you sell a policy today, Dave, you're getting paid Friday. Like, so your rent can literally be taken care of today if you just go fucking ape shit. I'm talking like, just don't stop. Do not stop. It like, get Cali, go find some Cali leads and dial at 9, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. Like, everybody
I was doing it last night. A
Yeah.
lot of my leads come in from Texas, Arizona, Washington. I'm not registered in California, but
Yeah.
last night I actually didn't dial the entire time I posted on Syndicate. I actually got off at about 7:30, ate some dinner, and then got back on at 9 and dialed for another hour
And it's
because
gonna-
it's all there on the West Coast.
But that was
Yeah,
one
and
day.
it's going to come through.
That was
for you.
one day.
Yeah.
Do it again.
But
Well,
I'm
no,
just
that
saying,
it was
if
a
you-
new strategy, Cam. It was a new. I
Yeah,
just implemented it yesterday.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So just keep doing that every day. Sorry, I got off on a tangent, Nick. Keep going. My bad. I just
No,
you're
you're
good.
fine. I was just saying, like, keep doing that, like, right, like, new strategy. Now just do that, right? So again, Dave, I just want to pull the one thing out of everyone. Like, what was your one takeaway from that call?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, I'll twist it up into that. We were really going back and forth there. I mean, the grind, all the numbers are impressive. As you said, I really like because I feel right now how I'm scheduling my appointments are really kind of random. I'm not using Calendly. So I'm just looking at Ringy, what my appointments are, and just like, here's the spot, here's the spot. But I need to be more organized. And I like just going backwards like that because then I don't have, well, here's an appointment. And then I'm missing dial time here. And then,
No, I think
so
that's an
I
excellent
did like
strategy.
that.
Yeah.
I wrote that
I think
down
that's
over
an
here
excellent
for sure.
I'm going to ask you a question because I was hoping for a different takeaway. As a new agent, do you see clearly now what it takes as far as work ethic goes to get the results that you desire?
Yeah. I mean, yes.
Okay.
I'm not going to say I'm not going to put in some 14-hour days, but I doubt that I will be doing 14-hour days. I'm just going to be honest with everybody. It's just, I'm not going to be putting in 14-hour days. And I am here to build something and I'm here to be successful. But I have other things going on in my life. And I'm just saying again, everyone's a different place, if you're 21, 31, people got kids on the way. Yeah, quality of life is important to me. So
For sure.
Not being just right in front of the computer 14 hours a day. It's but we all have maybe I would be crushing it a lot better if I was doing 14 hours a day, but I think that would create
I guess
issues
the
with
point
me.
as he was saying is it gets your learning curve. Like I don't think I think even Ty says he doesn't do 14-hour days anymore. He was saying he did that for a short period of time to get it. So look, we can move on to the next person. I mean, Sandy, what did you, or Molly's next? Okay.
Molly, you're next.
I don't think I'm saying anything that hasn't been said already, but something that stuck out to me was hammering leads and calling the same 50 leads over and over again until you get like a certain amount done. And then you move on, because you pay for the leads, you got to work them, and you need to make sure that you're getting your money's worth. And that's something that has definitely been said by Cam, Troy, and Nick specifically here as well. So it was nice to see that information being repeated by someone who's, being very successful in the industry. Also, like Nick was saying, forcing yourself to work and be on like for 14 hours or like being available to your clients like at 8 p.m. and then working back from there. And yeah, those were the things that really stuck out to me.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for the share. Troy, you're next.
You can't get me on another soapbox. No, so the one I really liked that like hit me right in the mouth. I was like, that schedule, that's a great, because when you're scheduling throughout the day, like you may have like that 30-minute interval or that hour interval, and it's like, hey, that's actually a really good way to do it. So you have that second block of call time, 3-4 hours. So I really like that. The biggest thing is exactly what Jim said. It's like, guys, we aren't teaching anything different. If anything, we have better systems, processes, and training than they do. Like, we have things that they don't have. They're like they may have a CRM, but what we're building is something all like everybody they're doing it, but then operationally, and I know the leaders kind of see this and agency owners see it a little more than the agents do on kind of what we're doing to be able to scale. And so there was nothing that like blew my mind. He was saying the same things that we all say. And it comes back. It's just very common sense. You work your ass off. Don't complain about your situation when you're not working your ass off. Like, just don't. Like, nobody is coming to like, Nick's not paying your mortgage. I'm not paying your mortgage. Cam's not paying your mortgage. Team Malik's not paying your mortgage. Like, nobody's paying your mortgage. Nobody's paying your fucking light bill. Nobody's paying your child support. Nope. Like, you either win or you don't win. Because at the end of the day, like, your situation is because you put it in, regardless of what anybody says. Like, everything in my life, it was my fault. When an agent leaves and says, fuck Syndicate, we got to figure out, okay, what did we do wrong? What did I do wrong? What did Cam do wrong? What did Nick do wrong? What did we do wrong for somebody to leave? And then we fix it. But, trying to figure out, well, I can't do, anytime there's a but or a well or anything after what you say, everything before it was just bullshit. Like, these guys, people you see, and we'll continue to bring people in the industry. That's what's really cool about this industry. There's a lot of people that are very successful that are basically parallel to us that can come in and literally say the same exact thing. And eventually you're going to be like, you're going to realize that what we're saying and how we're setting it up is actually the truth. And until you get out of your own way and like Ty said, you remove your ego and you actually do what it takes instead of thinking you want to do what it takes, but not physically acting on it. So there was nothing, there was no aha moments. It was like, see, honestly, for me, it was like, hey, see what Cam's told you for the last, year, what Nick's told you for the last year, what I've told you for the last year. Hey, we're actually telling you the truth. So if you're going to be successful, and so I know some people don't like to hear, oh, like pull yourselves up by the bootstraps. At the end of the day, ain't nobody gives a besides your like circle, and maybe hell, my parents, my brothers, my aunts, uncles, my cousins, they don't give a fuck what I do. Like, they don't care if I'm successful or not successful. And those are like the closest people. There's probably people in this room that care more about my success and living a good life than my fucking family. So like, if you really think that like if you miss a payment or whatever, that people are actually gonna like, that's just a boohoo sob story. Like, you're not gonna be successful, and people need to fucking hear that. And we're here to help you be successful. You just have to, if you just follow the blueprint, you'll be successful. And if you're not successful, it's because you didn't put in the work. And Ty literally said that without being a fucking dick, but that's what he was saying. He was like getting up at 5, getting in the office at 7:30, leaving at 9 o'clock. That's what he's saying. Put in the fucking work. And if you don't, you can't bitch and complain that you don't have the things in life and you can't pay your bills and you can't do this and you can't do that. It's your fault. At the end of the day, it's your fault. All right, I'm done. Sorry.
Sandy, you're next.
I love that.
I guess it kind of goes with Troy's like 5-hour rant.
It was 5 minutes.
Let's go.
Um, so I think that when it comes to insurance, a lot of people think that you have to be a certain way, be built a certain way, have a certain personality, and to some extent, sure. But I like that he told us those stories about people who did not come from the industry, did not come from wealth, and they made it happen. And I think Troy mentioned a formula, so I wrote it down as because everybody wants that like magic sauce, and we keep saying like there isn't one, right? So to be able to say, hey, Ty Cook said that you have to be coachable, drop the ego, and just do what you're told. Number two, look at the person you want to be and outwork them. Number three, don't quit, even if it gets rough. Know that it gets better, but not if you quit. And so anybody that comes on, just tell them, look, this is what you have to do. That's it. No more.
I also
That's my
think too, like with
one
setting
takeaway.
expectations.
Love it.
Sorry, sorry. I thought I was gonna just say something on top of it, but sorry.
No, keep going. Say something.
Oh, I was just gonna say like setting the expectation. I know like Sandra, you got your you wanted me to talk to your cousin. Um and I mean I'm gonna be like, dude, like this is not everyone always sees the social media posts. Like, bro, the first year sucks. Like my first year, like when he was saying that about like his day and what it looked like, I didn't get up at 5:30, I would get up at 6:30, but I was in the office till 10. Like literally for the first 6 months of my career. So and I was at a 50% comp. And Peyton, who was also at AIL, will tell you, I mean, that was the grind. I produced a lot of business. I with one of the top 10 rookies in that company. But it's like I just outwork people. I did when he said that thing. It's like find the guy who you want to be and outwork him. I did that, and it works. But it's like how many people are willing to do that? I mean, yeah, like I'll tell you one thing, and Dave, like not to pick on you, but you're like, oh, I want to have a good life. Well, guess what? I worked my butt off, and I have a really good life now. Like, you know what? Yeah, I work my butt off, but if I want to go do something, I have money that most 50-year-olds can't even imagine. Not trying to brag about the money aspect, but I'm just saying, like, that's what you're doing it for, and I can do things that other people can't do, and I can do things when I want to do it, because at some point I worked that many hours. Now, do I work that many hours all the time now? Not necessarily, but I'm more efficient in that time. So, I just
Mhm.
think setting the expectation for people, like, dude, if you want to make 150 grand a year, you're gonna have to suck for a bit. But on the other side of sucking is being a freaking absolute beast who can make several $100,000 from their home.
And then in 2 years, you can just pick it up. I mean, you guys see Cam. He can just pick up the phone and sell a policy. Augusta, same way. She can just pick up the fucking phone and sell a policy. Nick can just pick up the phone and sell a policy. That didn't just happen overnight. That's because they endured the suck for 2 years, for 3 years. And so it's not going to happen overnight. But
Yep. Yep. Kelly, you're next. One takeaway from what Ty said.
Certainly, thank you very much. The one takeaway I took just, because I've been in and out of the industry, so to speak, is the individual that, grasps the industry, understands it, but just wasn't putting in the time. The guy that had a side gig, that was starting at 11, leaving at 2, and decided to really go in for a bit and said, really, this is how it can be? Okay. And now he's one of the top producers because I've been guilty of that, and my life is going in a totally different trajectory from where it had been, and I'm really excited. And but that made sense to me. That was my takeaway.
Thanks,
Love
Cal.
that. Love that. Jay Potts, are you available to speak? He is.
Yeah.
One takeaway from Ty, brother.
Work your butt off, chop up your numbers into little bitty tasks, and then like what Cam said, um, what I said yesterday, make a challenge against your partner or against someone. Mine's with Foresters to win, like make a challenge, have a competition.
Foresters and Nick.
And Foresters,
Nick will
Foresters,
always be in Jay Potts' challenge.
yeah, Foresters and
Because of that, you'll always be in my heart, bro. You're always going to be save a spot.
We all have to live up to you based on yesterday. My goodness.
Niece, were you able to take anything from that, or were you on the phone?
So what I took away from that is agents need to buy leads and then dial the damn leads and put in the damn work.
Let's go. It took me
Nisa,
10 minutes to
Nisa,
say that. Nisa
Nisa.
said it in 10 seconds.
Nisa.
That's why she's in administration, because she's efficient.
Yeah. Nisa,
Uh,
Nisa.
Mr. Malik, so you get to speak on your takeaway and also your significant other. She's on the phone. She's on the phone, I think. Augusta
Yes, of
is.
course she's actively selling a policy.
So you can speak on her behalf on what her takeaway would have been, because you know her the best.
First time he's ever been allowed to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't tell her that's what I'm doing
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
No, so one thing he kind of brushed past because it's very obvious in one sense, but it's a big mindset shift for a lot of especially newer agents. So he talked about when he's dialing in the morning and trying to sell on the spot. He talked about the goal of like, if I sell one, great. If I sell two or more, that's even better. And it's easy to get into a mindset of like, oh, I'm gonna dial for 2 hours and that's the goal. And it's like you got to shift that's not the goal. The goal is I'm either booking all of this time for this evening for appointments. I'm booking my whole calendar tomorrow. I'm going to pitch on the spot and I'm going to sell policies right now. It's easy to be like, well, I dialed for 2.5 hours, so I did something. And it's like, no, you didn't. What was the end result? Should you have dialed for 3 hours? Should you have dialed for 4 hours? Should you have just dialed until you had those last three time slots filled up for this evening? Like the goal is not the dialing. The dialing absolutely has to happen, but it's just the road that gets you to that goal. It's step one in the puzzle of getting to the goal of the appointments that turn into sales, or getting the person on the phone who can talk to you right now who will buy the policy right now. Right? So like again, it seems obvious, but it's important to shift that mindset of like I am dialing because that's the gas in the car to get me to where I'm going. It's not the goal itself, is dialing for the next 2 hours. So that's kind of an extrapolation on what he was saying, but it reminded me of it when he was talking about selling the actual policies in the mornings.
Love that.
Thank you, Major
So,
Tom.
so now what would Augusta have taken away? That was your takeaway. What would your better half have
So
taken away?
she is also very abrupt in her efficiency. So she also would have said, dial the damn leads. She would have been with Nisa on that one, where it's like, just do that. Like, again, that's the thing you have to do. Just dial the damn leads. What are you doing for the next 10 minutes? You could call 15 or 20 people. Like, did you just finish a sale? Did you just hop off a meeting and you're about to go make some lunch or breakfast or something? And it's going to sit in the microwave for 10 minutes while you look at your phone. You could have been dialing for that 10 minutes, so
Mhm.
that would be her thing. And that's one thing that sets her apart is she will, if you looked at her actual schedule across a day after the day was over, it's like there were 12 different dialing for 10 minutes opportunities in there that she actually took rather than scrolling Instagram or TikTok or whatever. So
Yeah.
that would be her big takeaway.
And those add up. Those little 10-minute increments add up, right? So
Exactly.
that's a good little nugget there.
Dude, Nick,
Mr.
to hinge on what Mike was saying there, and it's just another takeaway that I did get from that, and we got kind of caught up in what I had said. Also, yeah, shifting my mindset a little bit on like I'm dialing and dialing, and I'm just trying to like set appointments. He said appointments are disappointments. He got somebody on the phone. I need to approach them more with, and it does say it in the script right there. If it's not a set right then pivot to this part of the script. But I need to start just trying to, just do one call. Just are you available right now? Do we have time right now to go through something for you?
Yeah,
Instead of just
absolutely.
trying to call and set appointments for a later date, where obviously I've had people reschedule, not show up. So yep, I'm learning. Okay, back to you.
Yep, for sure, for sure. Mr. Croc, takeaway.
Well, I had a couple things, but everybody's already said them. So the first thing was like the two types of people, having somebody who's actually skilled at sales and then having somebody who just outwork them. I think that's always like a good thing to look at because it doesn't show that there's just one type of person that can make it in this business. To the backward booking, I've never really experimented with that, but also I've caught myself being at 6 p.m. booking an appointment, they don't show up, and then I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and take off and leave for the night and be done for the night. But another big thing was him kind of talking about like the age leads that he was purchasing and stuff like that. And his biggest deal was off age lead. A lot of people like we always want the best lead that's going to be the easiest lay down and all this stuff rather than just go and get more leads and call them. And it's kind of crazy when you look at it because he said that's his biggest ALP deal was an age lead that he probably dialed 20 times before they answered. I think my highest ALP deal was like 10K and it was from a referral of like an older woman lead. So it's like you don't know where the lead is going to come from. You don't know how much ALP it is. So we can't really just give up on a lead because it's $30 cheaper than another lead in that sense. But that was kind of what I got from it.
Awesome. Thanks for
Love
the
that.
share, bro. Mr. Zachary Frame, is your last name really Frame, dude? I love that. Can we trade last names?
Frame like a picture frame, man.
That's awesome. What was your takeaway, bro?
Honestly, nothing that's not already been said, but really just, we all got that lifestyle that we want to live, but you sometimes you got to do what you have to do in order to get to what you want to do. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's going to take them 14-hour days to get there, and
Absolute bar.
none of us want to do it, you know what I mean? But the reality of it is, we all want the life that Cam's living, that Ty's living, that, all these people are living, but doing what we're doing today isn't getting us there. So we got to make some changes and do something different.
Amen, bro. I love that. I love that. Yeah, you can't expect to stay the same and get different results, right? So you have to shift. There has to be some sort of a shift there. You can't, when you're coming into this industry, you're coming from another industry, you cannot do the same things or keep the same mindsets that you had in that other industry and bring them here. Sure, some things apply, but like you have to shift if your goals are going to go higher, right? The bar is going to raise. Uh, Mr. Labry.
Oh man, Troy, let me send over that soapbox. So first thing, when you talked about the schedule, loved that. That was, what would I talk about in a workshop about like decision fatigue? Like he knew what he was going to do every single day. He got his gym time in. One thing that I loved, I hear sometimes people come in like, oh, I gotta go to the gym and I gotta go super hard. Dude, there was like a year of my life where it was like I literally did not give a shit about if I was getting stronger or what my gym goals were. Like I knew that they always say health is wealth. Well, wealth is also health. Like it goes back and forth. And so, yeah, I would go to the gym, but when he said, yeah, we didn't really sweat that much, it's like, yeah, dude, like I knew that I had like 45 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour. I'd get in there, I'd, do my gym workout, and then I was back to hitting the phones. And then he said two dial times. One thing I loved that he said that I don't think anyone said this yet, that you may have said it, but not in the way that I'm about to say it, is he said, yeah, if I got one sale, two sales in the first dial time, we're our time horizon needs to shrink, right? A lot of times people are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try to get a deal this week. Dude, he's like, I'm gonna get a
Yes.
deal this 3 hours. Like our time horizons need to shrink, right? Because it's like, oh, I'm gonna aim for 3,000 this week, bro. Homie was trying to aim for 3,000 before 11 a.m.
Yeah, that hit me too.
And he's doing, but you know how he's able to do that? He's doing before 11 a.m. what you're doing in a week. That's the only difference. His
Or a
input in the
day.
first 3 hours on a Monday is what you've done in your whole week. And that's why his output on the beginning of a Monday, on a Monday morning, is more than you'll do in a whole week. That's why the same thing when you see me have a big week, I've just done more work than you. I'm not trying to like not trying to brag. I'm just saying like you're like, oh man, I want to be where Cam's at. Then do what I'm doing. Last week I ran 32 appointments. How many appointments you run? Right? That's what it
Are you
takes.
talking to me?
I'm talking to anyone. I'm talking to anyone. I'm
Oh,
just saying, like, everyone's like, oh, I want this. It's like, okay, like, are you willing to stay on late at night? Are you willing to come on a Saturday? Are you willing to, on a Friday night, work till 7, 8, 9 p.m. Because I'll tell you one thing, I hop on a Friday and there's only 2, 3 people on here. And then you're not even at your commit. And then I hear all these things, finances. Dude, I don't want to hear about your finances and you're off at 2 p.m. on a Friday. That's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Do not ever complain to me about that because like I I don't need money as that bad and I'm still out working. Like it's crazy. The other thing that he said that I actually disagreed with him on. I'm gonna say this, and I think he would probably agree with me if I took it this way. He said if you're 3 weeks in and you're struggling and you still haven't got you haven't gotten any sales over 3 weeks, he's like, yeah, you just got to keep working the numbers. I disagree with him there. I think you have to work the numbers, but I think you have to look at it. Are you following the system that's been taught? Are you actually following that script, or are you just going and doing your own thing? Because at some point, nothing changes if nothing changes. So if you're 2 weeks in, you're like, dude, I haven't made a sale. I haven't even pitched a price. It's probably because you're not following a system we've taught. Now, if you're following the system that we've taught and you're actually doing that and you sent recordings to your upline and I've sat down with you or Nick sat down with you, whoever your upline sat down with you, and it sounds good and looks good, then yeah, go back to that. But most of the time it's not that. It's just that you're not following a system. And then you're like, oh, well, I'm not getting results. Well, you're not getting results because you're not literally doing anything that works. You're just saying whatever. One thing that you're gonna you would find with him, he didn't even really go over this with Nick, with anyone who's closing a lot of business. My sit sounds literally the same every single time. Augusta sounds the same every single time, and I know exactly what my results are gonna be. It's boring, it's mundane, but it works. Boring makes money. So I agreed with him on all of that. I just think that like you want to make sure like am I actually saying those things? And if you are, then yeah, do exactly what he said. If you aren't, which is most of the time what's causing that, then go back to step one and get really good at that. But I thought he was great. And you can tell like guys like that have great energy. They've done it, they've gone through the shit. They know that like there's no victim mindset. You either want to win or you don't. I'm sending the soapbox back to Ironton. There you go, Troy.
Yeah, it was I'll just add this last thing. Like so I mean, obviously I think all of you guys know Cam and I used to be over at FFL, but like I sat in front of Ty Cook at the first annual convention I went to in 2023 and he was, you know, like just a normal dude. So it's crazy to see what he's built and the leaders he's built up and the short amount of time that he's done that. So it's cool for me to see just because the window and the time frame that it took him to do that, it's possible for any of us. So that was cool.